Hello and welcome to this week's Facebook Live. Today I'm going to share a project with you using this Flowering Foils Designer Series paper, and this you can get for free with a $50 purchase during Celebration. Now, hopefully a few people will hop on and join me live. I have a couple announcements before I show you the card, so hopefully you can see this in your news feed and join me. This paper just became available to customers yesterday, and my prediction is that it's going to sell out. I just found out that the Golden Honey paper sold out, and that's the third Celebration item to sell out so far this year, and I predicted that one. So this paper is really pretty. I think it's going to be really popular. And if you like it, I would not wait to buy it because I think it's going to go fast. So there are 4 patterns in it. These pretty flowers, which we'll be using today. We've got the stripes. This pattern, really fun to color. And then these other flowers. So the paper has silver foil and rose gold foil in it. Super pretty. If you watched the video I shared with you yesterday, that video showed a couple of different ways that you can color it, and I'm going to show you one today using the sponge daubers, and it's just really pretty. You do not need a whole lot of supplies or advanced techniques to make something beautiful with this paper because it is just so pretty. If you do like it and you want to order this week, if you use this host code all week long and place an order in my online store, I will send you a free surprise gift, and it might be some free handmade cards, a sampler of Designer Series paper, an embellishment. The more you spend, the better your gift will be. If you spend over $150, do not use the host code. You can also earn your own host rewards, and I will still send you a little gift. Now, I decided to show you 2 different versions of this card. We're going to make this one on the video today, but I decided to do a second version to show you another option for those flowers. So this one, I colored them and I just left it as one sheet of paper. And this one, I fussy cut the flowers out, and I didn't want to make you sit here and watch me cut those. It's not hard to do, but it does take some time, and it's really pretty. So I thought I would show you a second version, and when I'm done with the video, I'm going to work on a blog post so you can see a close-up of both. The stamp set I'm using today is another Celebration choice, free with $50, but you could really use any sentiment set that you would like. So the products I'm using today are cardstock. I'm using the Whisper White Crinkled Seam Binding Ribbon, which is on back order, and I'm really sad about that because it has become my favorite ribbon out of this catalog. I believe it's still able to be ordered. I don't think it has gone on the not orderable list yet, so you can order it, but it's not going to be in for a while. And Stampin' Up! Let us know yesterday that because of the coronavirus all over the world, there are going to probably be some delayed shipments just because it's hard for things to get out of China right now. Our cardstock, our stamps, things like that. I think the inks too are all made in the US, so those are fine. But things like the dies and the ribbons, the specialty papers, the regular Designer Series papers, I believe, are made in the US. So, you know, some stuff is fine, but other stuff, I know a lot of the back orders are already showing into April. So just be aware of that. You can still order it, you just might not get it right away. And this ribbon I really like. I would love if that ribbon carried over, in fact, but we'll find that out later. So, on to today's card. Let me show you the stamp set. It's called Sending You Thoughts, and it's just a sentiment stamp set. So this is another Celebration choice, free with a $50 spend. And what I like about this one is that a lot of these could be used as inside sentiments. I know a lot of people look for something they can stamp inside the card as well. So this is a great set for that. And in fact, if I show you this one, if loving thoughts could heal, you'd be better already. And I did the same thing on this one. Happy birthday with a great big wish for happiness. So there's options there, and that's kind of fun in that stamp set. So we are starting with a blueberry bushel card base. This color will be retiring this year. It's one of the in colors. And every year we get 5 new in colors, but 5 of them retire and leave us. And I think this is my favorite one that will be leaving this year. So I saw someone else do the flowers in blueberry bushel, and I thought it was really pretty. So that is what we're doing today. I'm going to start with a piece of Whisper White on the inside of the card so that I can stamp that inside sentiment. And I'm going to pull out my blueberry bushel ink here. And we'll just stamp that right inside. It's nice when you have an inside stamp because then you don't have to write so much, right? Oops, that's kind of crooked. Well, you know what? That happens sometimes, and it will be okay. If you really cared about that, you could just cut another piece and tape it right over, and it would be fine. But it's handmade, right? So it's not supposed to be perfect. Okay, I'm going to get a piece of my grid paper here. You can see I've been using this one. And now we're going to color the flowers. So I have sponge daubers, and these come in packages of 5. I believe they're about $5. I have not bought them recently, so I can't tell you for sure, but I think they're $5 and you get 5. So I just dab it in the ink, and then I'm going to start in the center of my flower and kind of work my way out so that it's a little bit darker in the center. And I didn't even go all the way to the edge. I just added some color in the middle. And you can go back and add more to give it kind of that ombre effect until you are happy with it. Now, some people like to take a tissue, and you can rub the tissue over afterwards, and it'll help get the ink back off that foil. I don't really mind how it looks this way, and I didn't rub it back off on any of my other cards, so I didn't think I would do it right now. But you can do that if it looks a little cloudy to you, or you don't like, or you want the foil to be a little bit clearer. But I really don't think it is that noticeable, and I think it looks fine this way. So I'm just going to go over all my flowers with that sponge dauber. You can also color this paper with your Stampin' Blends. We had some paper that was similar to this a few years ago, and what I discovered when I colored that paper with Stampin' Blends is that the Stampin' Blends will go on the foil and you cannot rub them off. You can rub the ink off this way, but the Stampin' Blends won't rub off. So you have to be a little bit careful when you are coloring with the Stampin' Blends and stay in the lines. So that is why I chose to show you this way, because it is super easy and you don't have to worry so much about being perfect. So then I added a little bit of color on these little blossoms too, and it is going to go outside of the lines. So if that bothers you, then you can just skip these, or you could color them with a marker instead if you want it to stay in the lines. It didn't bother me too much, so I just colored them this way. And you might have noticed how I'm moving the sponge dauber in a circular motion. That just helps it get a more even coating with the ink, instead of having splotches that are darker or getting lines like that. For the leaves, I used Pear Pizzazz, and we're just going to do the same thing. Make sure you use a different sponge dauber. I have rinsed them out before, and that works okay. Oops, I forgot a flower. We'll have to get that back out. I have rinsed them out before, and that works okay. What I would recommend is just slowly over time, getting enough sponge daubers so that you have one for each color and labeling them. I have not been good about doing that, but at least if if you're using a green or you're using a blue, then it's similar enough that you're not going to get the mixing of colors too much. So I'm just coloring the leaves. And if you want, you can always go on your grid paper first if you don't like that darker color, because it's always darker at first because it's the most saturated with ink at that point. So you can always go on your grid paper first to get rid of some of that ink if you want, if you don't want such dark leaves. And again, I'm going out of the line some, but I think it's just part of the look, and I don't think it looks bad. Okay, I'm going to pull out my blueberry bushel and get that edge that I forgot. Isn't this a pretty way to color the flowers? It's not hard. It doesn't take a whole lot of supplies or thinking. All right, I think I got it all that time. And it's really, really pretty. Not that hard, and you get a really beautiful card. Okay, let's move that out of the way for a second. And let me grab my card base again. So this one, I thought it would look nice if I just slanted it a little bit. If you don't like that look, you could put it straight. You could even add a cardstock mat behind it if you want. That's kind of personal preference and what you think looks best. A lot of options. This is not a very difficult card, but I think it is stunning. Okay, next we are going to stamp our happy birthday sentiment. So I have a scrap of Whisper White. I'll pull out my blueberry bushel again. And this is the happy birthday. And then I'm going to use, now I'm going to forget the name of this punch. This is the Story Label Punch, I believe. And this was a Celebration choice last year that carried over. So you can just put it in your punch and line it up, punch it out. And most of the sentiments in this stamp set I found would fit in here. So that is why I chose that one. Okay, and then you see I have the Whisper White crinkled seam binding ribbon, and I'm going to probably run out pretty soon, which is sad because I won't be able to get any more for quite a while. But I have been using it a lot. I think I'm on my second or third roll of it, and I highly recommend it. Even if you can't use it right away, get some, and then you can have it to use for projects later on. I really love it because it's white, so you can color it, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. So I just wrapped it around 3 times, and I wanted to make sure I got the right amount. And then we don't have blueberry bushel Stampin' Blends markers, but I found the light Night of Navy was a pretty close match, so that is what I'm going to do. You can use any color of Stampin' Blends markers to color this ribbon. Just make sure you have it on the grid paper, and I'm using the brush tip of my marker to color it. And it dries really, really fast since these are alcohol-based markers. So that's nice. You can go ahead and add it to your project right away, and you don't have to worry about getting ink all over your fingers. I colored this ribbon on one other Facebook Live recently. So you can see it's very versatile because you can do so many different colors. I like the width of it too. It's not too wide but not too narrow. And I was really sad when it was on back order because I wanted to use it for a class, but it'd be a little hard to get it into the class kits when I won't get it this month. So I'll have to come up with something different. This is a longer length of ribbon to color, but it goes pretty fast. And like I said, it dries really quickly, so that is nice. And I'm probably making everything go crooked. I always watch the videos later on and notice that, and it bugs me. Hopefully it doesn't bug you too much that it's going crooked. Almost got it colored here. I've also noticed when you color this ribbon with the Stampin' Blends, it gets just a little bit stiffer and easier to work with and tie, which is kind of nice also. All right, that's probably close enough because we'll be cutting that end off when we trim it. So now I am just going to wrap it around again. And see how that matches pretty well. So even though we don't have quite all of the colors in our Stampin' Blends markers, there's usually a different shade of a different one that is a pretty close match. So that is really nice. Okay, so I'm just going to tie a bow. I'll make it a little bit smaller. You can make it whatever size you want. Trim your ends. Cut that white off. Okay, so now to finish the card, I am just going to attach my sentiment with Stampin' Dimensionals. And since it's going over that ribbon that's wrapped around 3 times, I'm going to put 4 on. You probably wouldn't need that many if you were just attaching it by itself. But some of it goes down on that ribbon and then it's not sticking to the rest of the card. So you want to make sure you put enough on so that it will hold it in place. All right, and then I just finished off the card with a couple of our Noble Peacock rhinestones. I love that our rhinestones come in so many colors now. And this is Blueberry Bushel, so it is an exact match. But if you did not have an exact match, you could use the Stampin' Blends markers on our regular rhinestones too and get the color you want. But it's nice when you just have them already colored and you don't have to do that. So there you go. A pretty simple card, but this paper makes it just so beautiful. I hope you enjoyed this card today. Don't forget about ordering this week, and I'll send you a surprise gift in the mail. If you liked this video and this project, make sure you join my email list. I will put the link up above. Every once in a while, I send projects to my email list, and I also am able to send links for my classes to purchase them, and of course, all the updates on Stampin' Up! Sales and my own specials. So make sure you join my email list so that you don't miss out on those. Sometimes Facebook does not always show that my posts to you here, so that way you won't miss out for sure. Have a great day and happy stamping.